Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance, and today, we're diving deep into one of the most underrated, yet absolutely explosive, marksmen in all of Hero Wars, Alliance. Ginger, the Dominion's fiery gunner of chaos. Now, Ginger might not always get the spotlight compared to other flashy carries like Dante or Kira, but underestimate her and you'll regret it. Her skill set is designed for relentless firepower, brutal area of effect damage, and punishing consistency that chips away at enemy defenses until nothing remains standing. And when paired correctly, Ginger transforms from just a marksman into a shredding machine that can melt even the toughest defenses. So today, I'll break down 3 essential tips for making Ginger not just good, but absolutely dangerous. We'll talk about her best synergies, the supports that maximize her potential, and finally, the weaknesses you need to know so you can both protect your own Ginger, and punish your enemies. Strap in, Guardians, because this is going to be one explosive ride. Tip 1, Synergies. The first key to unleashing Ginger's full destructive potential lies in her synergy with allies who enhance her firepower and disrupt enemy formations. Ginger's damage output is already impressive, but with the right companions, it skyrockets into lethal territory. Let's start with Isaac. Isaac is, without a doubt, one of Ginger's absolute best friends on the battlefield. His observer drones pump up her physical attack, crush enemy armor, and, maybe most importantly, his knockback pushes foes together, creating tight groups that line up perfectly for Ginger's piercing bullets. Grouped enemies plus Ginger's O. That's a recipe for disaster for your opponents. Now we bring Tristan into the mix. Tristan's bonus armor penetration might not seem like much on paper, but here's the truth. Ginger already comes with one of the highest native armor penetration stats in the game. When you stack Tristan's buff on top, suddenly she's bypassing armor like it doesn't even exist. Against heavily tanky lines, Tristan makes sure Ginger keeps shredding clean through, especially in longer battles where that consistency really pays off. Next, let's talk about Fafnir. The dwarf blacksmith does double duty here. First, he forges the runic shield to keep Ginger alive, which she desperately needs with her lower defenses. But second, his runic blade gives her a massive bonus to physical attack. Combine that with his knowledge of flaws, letting her stun targets every 8 seconds, and suddenly Ginger isn't just pumping out damage, she's also controlling the flow of battle. Pairing Fafnir with Ginger transforms her into a protected, empowered machine gun of doom. And here's one that surprises some players, Polaris. Why Polaris? Because she's the undisputed queen of stuns. No one shuts down the enemy quite like her. While she's locking enemies in place and interrupting their abilities, Ginger is free to keep firing without interruption. The synergy is beautiful. Polaris keeps the enemy team under control, Ginger keeps the bullets flying, and together they grind down the opposition. These synergies are the backbone of Ginger's offensive identity. They amplify her strengths and make sure she's always firing at her maximum potential. Tip 2, Supports. Of course, all the damage in the world means nothing if Ginger can't survive long enough to deliver it. And this is where her support cast becomes critical. Let's start with Judge. If Ginger is your backmost hero, Judge becomes a guardian angel. His shield is incredibly durable and protects her from all types of damage. Combine that with his frequent stuns, which conveniently sync with Ginger's own penetrating shot skill, and you've got a synergy that lets her keep outputting damage while Judge handles control and protection. Sebastian is another irreplaceable ally. He's the universal physical carry booster, and Ginger is no exception. Sebastian reduces enemy armor, ensures critical hits flow freely if Ginger has her second talisman or Stormfang, and most importantly, provides that massive shield against control effects. Nothing feels worse than having your marksman stunned at the wrong moment. With Sebastian, Ginger keeps firing uninterrupted, while also scaling her crits into pure destruction. His weapon artifact also adds more physical attack to the team, scaling perfectly with Ginger's output. And then we have Julius. Oh boy, does Julius take Ginger to another level. His speed boosts are insane, especially for progress heroes like Ginger, who get even bigger bonuses. Faster attacks mean faster rage means more firing cycles, and that's everything Ginger wants. Add his shields that heal and buff armor and magic defense, and suddenly Ginger's biggest weakness, her low defenses, is patched up. Plus, his weapon artifact grants critical hit chance, meaning Ginger's bullets now have a strong chance to double in damage. With Julius, Ginger isn't just firing, she's firing like a Gatling gun on overdrive. These supports ensure that Ginger can stay alive and keep pumping out damage. Without them, she risks getting deleted too early. With them, she becomes the nightmare of every frontline tank and backline squishy alike. Tip 3, Weaknesses. Now, Guardians, let's face it, no hero is perfect. Ginger has her weaknesses, and if you don't address them, she'll be picked apart in seconds. On the flip side, if you're fighting against her, knowing these weaknesses gives you the perfect game plan to shut her down. First up, Iris. Iris is hands down Ginger's deadliest counter. Why? Because Ginger's negative effects counters debuffs, which fuel Iris's soul burning. With Iris on the field, every shot Ginger fires digs her own grave. Add in a perfectly timed Luther jump to stun Ginger when she's most vulnerable, and your carry is gone before the battle even starts. Cleaver is another brutal counter. His rusty hook drags Ginger straight into the front line, and once she's exposed, she crumbles fast. With her low armor and health, she simply can't take that punishment. Corvus is another problem. His altar reflects Ginger's damage back at her, essentially turning her own bullets against her. If you're not careful, Ginger will burn herself down faster than her enemies. Lian also deserves a special mention. Her conciliation charms Ginger constantly thanks to Ginger's hits. Every bullet is a chance for Ginger to be charmed, shutting her down and leaving your team wide open. Then there's Jorgen. His leper skill redirects all Ginger's damage onto the furthest enemy. If Ginger herself is the furthest, she'll basically destroy herself. Pair that with his energy control, and he can completely ruin Ginger's tempo. Magic-heavy enemies also cause nightmares. Orion's magnetic field targets the backline, where Ginger sits, hitting her hard with O and slowing her down. Luther's jumps also catch her in the backline, stunning her at key moments. And Alvanna, with his Rune of Earth, can reduce the damage from regular attacks, so much that Ginger's firepower becomes far less threatening. Finally, Yasmine. Ginger has one of the lowest armor values in the way of progress, which makes her Yasmine's favorite snack. Yasmine locks onto her, paralyzes her, and ends the fight before Ginger can even get rolling. These weaknesses are real. Ginger is powerful, but she's fragile. Protect her, or she falls. Exploit these counters, and she folds fast. So, Guardians, let's wrap this up. Ginger is one of those heroes that, when built and supported correctly, can absolutely shred teams apart with her relentless O and armor penetration. But she's also one of the easiest heroes to punish if left unprotected. Tip 1. Pair her with heroes that amplify her offense: Isaac, Tristan, Fafnir, and Polaris. Tip 2. Give her the right supports to cover her weaknesses: Judge, Sebastian, and Julius. Tip 3. Always remember her counters: Iris, Cleaver, Corvus, Lian, Jorgen, Yasmine, and more. Know them, respect them, and plan accordingly. With the right team, Ginger is no joke. She's a machine gun that never stops firing. With the wrong setup, she's target practice. Now it's your turn, Guardians. Do you use Ginger in your teams? Which heroes do you pair her with, and what counters have given you the most trouble? Share your strategies in the comments, I'd love to hear them. And if you found this guide useful, smash that like button, subscribe to Olympus Alliance, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next breakdown. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and as always, salute and friendship.